This episode is brought to you by Peacock. The new Peacock original documentary, Matthew Perry, A Hollywood Tragedy, dives deep into the beloved actor's rise to fame and his tragic death. 5 people, including Perry's personal assistant, 2 medical doctors, and an alleged Hollywood drug dealer known as the Ketamine Queen, were charged with conspiracy to illegally provide Perry with the ketamine. Explore the details of the case in this heartbreaking special, streaming now only on Peacock.
Building a portfolio with Fidelity Basket Portfolios is kind of like making a sandwich. It's as simple as picking your stocks and ETFs, sort of like your meats and other topics, and managing it as one big, juicy investment. Now that's pretty good. Learn more at fidelity.com/baskets. Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
We off?
30 seconds of carefree bliss.
Oof, like wind in your hair carefree.
Oh, like using Clorox Disinfecting All-Purpose Cleaner in the home carefree.
Yes!
Like dog slobbing on the coffee table and cleaning it with Clorox Carefree.
He's on a roll now.
Spit toothpaste on the faucet.
You got it. You got it.
Peanut butter on the light switch.
Oh, spritz, spritz.
Spritz, spritz. Clorox, man. Clean feels good.
Okay, we're back.
Use as directed.
TaxAct knows filing your small business taxes can be a nightmare, like the kind where you're being chased by a giant W-2 form, and you're running and running, but you can never reach the submit button. Or something like that. So, TaxAct offers Expert Assist with live tax experts to make filing taxes less scary. Now, you can just have pleasant dreams about being chased by other giant, non-threatening paperwork. TaxAct. Let's get them over with.
Thanks for listening to the Red Treehouse, where I tell scary stories to keep you up at night. You can listen to the Red Treehouse on your favorite streaming platforms. Be sure to follow, like, and subscribe. Oh, and leave a 5-star review. You can find the Red Treehouse on Patreon. Join the Red Treehouse community for as little as $3 per month and receive exclusive member benefits. Simply go to patreon.com/Red Treehouse. Important note: sources for this episode can be found in the show notes. The Red Treehouse is dedicated to my dad. I love you, Pop. For many of us, social media is an everyday part of life. Whether you use it to connect with family and friends, are a content creator or influencer, or just enjoy scrolling and sending memes and reels, social media is a major part of the cultural landscape. At its absolute worst, social media can be a place where trolls, bots, and keyboard warriors live out the worst humanity has to offer. At its best, though, social media is a place for connection, acting as a bridge where physical distance often divides us. There's another side to social media, though, a strange side, where in real time, people can offer a running dialogue on the details of their life. On August 7th, 2017, at 11:35 a.m., Adam Ellis, at the time a web cartoonist for Buzzfeed, published a series of tweets that quickly went viral. In short, he claimed his apartment was being haunted by the ghost of a dead boy, and that the ghost was trying to kill him. And if the story is true, it may just be the most compelling evidence of the paranormal ever recorded. In this episode of the Red Treehouse, we're going to explore the strange and scary Dear David haunting. Was a murderous ghost haunting Adam Ellis back in 2017? Or was it nothing more than a really creative piece of fiction? I'll share the story. You decide for yourself. I'm your host, Will. Welcome to the Red Treehouse. On October 13th, 2023, Friday the 13th, Lionsgate Films released Dear David to negative reviews from audiences and critics alike. As of this episode release, the film has a 4 out of 10 rating on IMDb, a 10% tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 3 out of 5 score on Common Sense Media. Though I haven't seen the movie, it seems obvious it wasn't well received, which is interesting, considering it's based on Adam Ellis' tweets, which enraptured followers from all over the world for nearly 6 months. I'll start with the short tweet thread posted on August 7th, 2017. The now famous tweets began with, quote, "So my apartment is currently being haunted by the ghost of a dead child, and he's trying to kill me. The first time I saw him, I was experiencing sleep paralysis and saw a child sitting in the green rocking chair at the foot of my bed. He had a huge misshapen head that was dented on one side. I did my best to draw it." End quote. Adam Ellis also commented that he experienced sleep paralysis in various states and countries, so this phenomenon was not limited to his apartment. Let's consider these opening tweets. Adam Ellis claimed to be haunted by the ghost of a nameless dead male child, and his first encounter was during a sleep paralysis episode. What's interesting is that sleep paralysis is common, with some estimates claiming nearly 28% of people worldwide will experience it at least once in their lifetime. There's something else. According to the Sleep Foundation, quote, "In as many as 75% of these episodes, the sleeper has a hallucination in which they hear, see, feel, or sense something in their bedroom that is not actually there." End quote. I'm not discrediting Adam Ellis' account, and I'm not saying the ghost in his room was a hallucination, but it is an interesting aspect of the story. At least initially, the ghost boy was just sitting in a green rocking chair in his room, and he remembered enough of what it looked like to draw it. I'll include a link to the picture in the show notes, but I'll tell you, it's an unsettling drawing. The child appears to be missing the right side of his head, which is either caved in or cut away. For a while, the ghost sat in the chair, staring at him. But at some point, he stood up and began walking toward Adam, whose sleep paralysis rendered him incapable of moving. Just as the ghost reached his bed, he screamed, waking him up. A few nights later, he dreamt he was in a library when a girl approached him from out of nowhere, saying, "You've seen Dear David, haven't you?" Unsure of who the girl was talking about, he asked for clarification. The girl responded, "Dear David, you saw him." What she said next is the stuff of literal nightmares. He's dead. He only appears at midnight. And you can ask him 2 questions if you said Dear David first, but never try to ask him a 3rd question, or he'll kill you. For me, it's rare when I remember any of my dreams, and often when I do recall specific details, they inevitably fade away quickly. Adam Ellis' recollection of his dream is vivid and scary. For the first time, the ghost boy is given a name, Dear David. Something interesting. The girl in the library sets Adam Ellis up for future encounters with Dear David, effectively telling him, you can ask him no more than 2 questions, and make sure you don't dare ask a 3rd, unless you want to die. This is startling in at least 2 ways. First, Adam Ellis should expect to have another encounter. And for me, the thought of going to bed at night expecting to see the ghost boy is disturbing to say the least. And second, Dear David is seemingly friendly, but only if he's asked 2 questions. Ask a third, and Dear David will kill you. A short time later, Adam Ellis had another dream similar to the first. Dear David was sitting in the green rocking chair, staring at him. Except this time, he conversed with the ghost boy, asking, Dear David, how did you die? The ghost boy responds, An accident in a store. Adam asked the second question, Dear David, what happened in the store? The ghost boy responded, A shelf was pushed on my head. Adam then asks a third question, Who pushed the shelf? This time, the ghost boy stays silent. Adam quickly realized his deadly mistake. He asked the prohibited third question. At that point, he woke up from his dream, scared of the potential consequences. No doubt obsessing over the situation, Adam Ellis took to the internet, hoping to find more information about Dear David's accident. Except, he couldn't find anything about a little boy named David, so he tried variations: Daniel, Dylan, Devin. But in each case, he came up empty, and a few months go by without any sign or sighting of Dear David. According to Adam Ellis, he forgets all about the ghost boy after moving upstairs to a vacant apartment. In his own words, quote, I think he lost track of me because I moved upstairs. End quote. It seems like the end of the story. Except, he noticed something strange happening with his cats. For several nights in a row, at midnight, they gathered at the front door of his apartment and sat there staring at it, as if something was on the other side of the door. He posted another tweet thread, including a picture of 2 cats whose heads were nearly on the floor as if looking under the doorframe. The next night, he, quote, got a weird feeling and looked out the peephole, and I'm dead certain I saw movement on the other side. End quote. He opened the front door to an empty hallway. There was no one out there. He noticed, though, his cats continued behaving strangely. He tweeted, quote, and that's where I am right now. Dear David found me, I think. I don't know what to do. I'll keep you updated. End quote. That update came a few nights later, when he tweeted that for 6 consecutive nights, his cats have, quote, walked over to the door promptly at midnight and stared at it, end quote. Accompanying the tweet was a picture of Adam Ellis holding a clock in the foreground, the time reading 12:02 a.m. In the background is a cat sitting on the ground, staring up at the door. And that's not all. He also posted a 45-second video of his cat seemingly investigating the doorframe, as if it were attracted by something or someone just outside. Scared and unnerved, he took a picture through the peephole of his front door. He tweeted, quote, okay, so I took a photo through the peephole because I'm too scared to open the door. I feel like I saw something. End quote. Uncertain of what he saw, Adam opened the door and peeked into the hallway. There was no one there. When he looked at the photo later on, he was startled by what he saw. There appeared to be a sort of mist on the stairs. He tweeted, quote, is it just me, or is there something in the first photo, right where the banister meets the shelves, hiding on the stairs? End quote. Still not convinced about what he's seeing, and concerned it may be a smudge on his camera lens, he took a second photo. He tweeted, Quote, I wasn't sure if it was a smudge or something, so I took a second photo from inside. There was something out there. End quote. The second photo, like the first, also showed a mist on the stairs. Adam did what most of us would do in a similar situation. He deadbolted his front door and dove into bed. From his bedroom, he heard his cats meowing at the front door. The next day, Adam tweeted, quote, It's been pretty quiet tonight. I'm going to try out a sleep talk app to see if anything happens during the night. End quote. 10 minutes later, he posted a picture of his cat standing at the front door. The timestamp showing 12:23 a.m. That same night, starting at 11:56 p.m., he posted a series of videos and photos showing what seemed to be his cat's new nightly routine. 11:56 a.m. One cat is sitting in front of the door, meowing several times and watching. 12:01 a.m. Both cats are standing at the front door, head crouched as if sniffing something underneath the door frame. 12:08 a.m. Adam poured a salt line in front of his door with the caption, quote, I don't even know if this is the right kind of salt. End quote. Later that day, after using the Sleep Talk app overnight, he tweeted an update. Quote, I used the sound app to record my apartment last night. It makes individual recordings each time it hears something. There were 33 recordings. Most of them are pretty vague. A couple of them are passing cars and the like. But there are 3 that I'm interested in. End quote. In the first recording, he heard a, quote, snapping sound and what seems like a single step. It's odd, because I didn't get out of bed all night. End quote. In the second recording, he heard, quote, a strange electric sound throughout. End quote. And in the third recording, he heard, quote, another snap. Then I groan in my sleep. End quote. Every recording occurred between 2 and 3 a.m. On August 12, 2017, Adam Ellis posted a selfie with the caption, quote, getting the F out of my haunted apartment for the weekend. End quote. No doubt, a much-needed sigh of relief and break from all the chaos. Except what Adam didn't realize was things were about to go from creepy to downright terrifying.
Take me out to the ball game.
What are you doing?
Did you know DirecTV has the most MLB games?
So, you're singing.
Yeah, they put your favorite teams front and center right when you turn it on. Buy me some cold cuts and flapjacks.
Those aren't even the words.
I'm allergic to peanuts.
Stream DirecTV, home of the most MLB games. Visit DirecTV.com. Claim based on total games offered on national and regional sports networks. RSNs available with choice package or higher. Availability of RSNs varies by zip code and package.
Switch to Verizon Business and get more from your internet without paying more for your internet. Get LTE Business Internet starting at $39 a month when paired with a Business Unlimited smartphone plan. That's unlimited data, and with it, unlimited possibilities. Start saving today with Verizon Business, ranked #1 in small business internet customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. Starting price for 25 megabits per second internet plan with savings, plus taxes, fees, and economic adjustment charge. Terms apply. For J.D. Power 2024 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength, Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
This episode is brought to you by Honda. Introducing the all-new, all-terrain Honda Passport Trail Sport, the most off-road capable Honda Passport Honda has ever dreamt up. The Passport features increased ground clearance, roof rails on all trims, and available specially developed all-terrain tires. And you'll stay comfortable with tri-zone climate control and available features like heated and ventilated front seats and a panoramic moonroof. Learn more at honda.com/passport.
Getting engaged can be stressful. Getting the right ring won't be at BlueNile.com. The jewelers at BlueNile.com have sparkle down to a science with beautiful lab-grown diamonds worthy of your most brilliant moments. Their lab-grown diamonds are independently graded and guaranteed identical to natural diamonds and ready to ship to your door. Get $50 off your purchase of $500 or more with code SPOTIFY at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com, code SPOTIFY for $50 off.
On August 13th, 2017, he published a cryptic tweet. Quote, "I have no explanation for this." End quote. The next day, he explained that he'd bought a Polaroid camera over his weekend away, and quote, "decided to take a few photos around my apartment. Polaroids are stupid and fun, and inherently sort of creepy. I didn't expect to find anything, and for the most part, I didn't." End quote. He posted 2 pictures, side by side, of his living room and bedroom, including the green rocking chair he'd seen Dear David sitting in. The pictures are ordinary and unremarkable. Then he tweeted, quote, "I went into the hallway and snapped a photo." End quote. The next picture shows Adam holding a developed Polaroid photo. The picture is pitch black. Thinking it was an anomaly, he opened a fresh pack of undeveloped Polaroids to see if that was the issue. Except every single one was normal. He thought maybe the photo was the result of a user error. He'd simply covered up the lens with his finger. So he took another photo, this time with his finger actually covering the lens. Then, he held up both photos side by side. He tweeted, quote, "The photo on the left is me covering the lens with my finger. The one on the right is my fully lit hallway taken just after midnight." End quote. The difference in the photos is startling. The one where he'd covered the lens with his finger developed as dark gray, not even close to the photo he'd taken in the hallway. Unsure of what to make of this, he posted several videos of him snapping Polaroids throughout his apartment and in the hallway. Once again, the photo of the hallway developed nearly pitch black. He tweeted, quote, "Honestly, I don't know why I'm still fucking around with this camera. There might be a logical explanation. Someone told me to take photos from farther away, so I tried that. Once with my iPhone, and once with the Polaroid." End quote. He took the advice, taking 2 more pictures of the hallway, this time from farther away. He then posted the pictures with the following caption, quote, "Left is with my phone. Right is with the Polaroid. The hall light was on both times. Why is it pitch black each time with the Polaroid?" End quote. If he'd simply posted text and left out the pictures, we might assume the Polaroid was completely dark. Except the photo shows a well-lit living room. You can clearly see the TV on the left and a bookshelf on the right. But beyond the open front door, the hallway is pitch black. Attempting to cleanse the space, Adam Ellis tried burning sage, but was unconvinced it helped, tweeting, quote, "Sage did not work." End quote. He went on to explain it'd been a few months since dreaming about Dear David, but that one night, the ghost child appeared again. He tweeted, quote, "In the dream, my bedroom was filled with hazy smoke, but I could see David sitting in the chair across the room. He was smaller this time, almost shrunken. He didn't do or say anything except look at me. Anyway, it feels like a bad omen." End quote. His next few posts show his cats lined up at the front door and tell of the, quote, "weird static electricity sound every night at 3 a.m. End quote. He even tweeted that he felt like his whole house was shaking, as if a small earthquake had hit, saying, quote, "It's just a whole bunch of small things happening at once. I feel so uneasy, like right before a thunderstorm comes." End quote. 3 days later, on August 21st, 2017, Adam tweeted, quote, "All this ghost stuff has been spooky, but this past weekend was the first time I actually felt unsafe in my home." End quote. He'd had another dream about Dear David. Quote, "I had a dream that night where David was dragging me by the arm through an old abandoned warehouse. I'm not sure why I didn't fight back in the dream, or how he was strong enough to pull me. But that's dream logic for you. It was a creepy dream, but I didn't think much of it when I woke up. I took a shower, and then I noticed something." End quote. His next tweet was a picture of his left arm, with a disturbing caption, quote, "I'd woken up with a huge bruise on my arm." End quote. He quickly dismissed it as something with a totally logical explanation, and set about going to get coffee at a local shop. Along the route, he'd always pass a busy, quote, "food cart repair depot," end quote. Except that morning, he noticed something strange. The normally packed warehouse was empty and abandoned. 2 pictures show the dark gutted interior. Curious and surprised, he stepped inside to take a quick look, and found something even more strange. A single green chair. He recounted the strange occurrences from that day, tweeting, quote, "The chair, my bruise, dreaming about an empty warehouse and then passing by one. It gave me the creeps. Needless to say, I didn't sleep much that night. Too many strange things are happening, and more frequently." End quote. 4 days later, on August 25th, 2017, Adam tweeted, quote, "There have been a few small developments in my apartment, but I'm not really sure what to make of them. I just know I'm scared." End quote. He explained how his cats were now gathering at his door earlier and earlier in the evening, this time by 10 p.m. They'd gather, meow and cry, stare at the door, and then about 15 minutes later walk off. Nothing too outside the norm. Except there was something else. Quote, "This week, something else has been happening. Shortly after the usual cat stuff, around 10:30 or so, I start getting phone calls from an unmarked number. My entire call history for the past week looks like this. You'll notice that I answered once, yesterday." End quote. His call history shows several unknown numbers listed with no caller ID. Thinking it may have been a telemarketer, he answered one call, and hearing, quote, "a peculiar electric static sound, very similar to the static my sleep app picks up at night. I didn't say anything. I just listened, waiting for some automated message to chime in. After about a minute, the static stopped, and there was silence. I kept listening. I heard what I thought was breathing, but it was so faint I can't be sure. My heart was racing, so it was hard to hear. Then, just as I was about to hang up, I heard a very small voice whisper, "Hello." Adam described the way the voice said hello as, quote, a flat statement, so quiet I could barely hear it, end quote. Scared out of his mind, he panicked and hung up the phone, closed the curtains in his apartment, turned on every light, and watched TV until daybreak. 3 days later, on August 28, 2017, Adam tweeted that he'd moved the green rocking chair out of his bedroom, and that he was hopeful an upcoming vacation to Japan would cause dear David to lose track of him. He also bought, quote, a pet monitoring camera so I can keep an eye on the cats while I'm overseas, end quote. The camera was connected to Wi-Fi and was available 24/7, allowing him to check it whenever he wanted, or when he received a text alert to his phone. Before leaving for Japan, he ran a short test and found that it worked perfectly. He received several notifications of his cats running around and playing in his apartment. Then, sometime around 11 p.m., he received an alert that the camera detected motion. But when he checked the feed, there was nothing there. He watched it a second time. Still nothing. Then he watched it a third time, and that's when he saw it. The green rocking chair, now placed in the living room in the corner opposite the television and next to the front door, was moving back and forth. He quickly closed the camera feed and tried to keep his composure. 30 minutes later, he received another alert to his phone. When he checked the feed, about 13 seconds in, a small turtle shell hanging above the bookshelf fell off the wall. After returning home, he put the rocking chair in the hallway. Over a week later, on September 5th, 2017, Adam tweeted, quote, "It's happening again. I've been leaving the nanny cam on 24/7. It records every time there's movement or sound, as you know. I was going over the feed from this weekend and noticed some weird stuff." End quote. In the first video, one of his cats, Maxwell, quote, freaks out and jumps over something invisible, end quote. The cat then stared at the spot he jumped over for a few seconds. Adam Ellis was convinced his cat was spooked. In the second video still, Adam captured something unnerving. In fact, it took me a few seconds to notice it, but when I did, my hair stood on end and a shiver went down my back. On the right side of the still is Maxwell. He's on the couch, standing on his hind legs, staring to the left of the camera at something in the distance. In the third video, Adam captured Maxwell on the couch, standing on his hind legs and swiping with his paw at something invisible. Adam tweeted, quote, "I just can't shake the feeling that something has made its way into the apartment," end quote. Nearly 2 weeks later, on September 16th, 2017, Adam tweeted, quote, "I've been having so many nightmares lately. They're way more intense than my usual dreams, too. I don't know if it's because I'm stressed or if it's something else. This afternoon, I took a nap and had a dream I haven't been able to shake. In the dream, I was laying in bed and rolled over to face the other direction. On the pillow next to me was a severed head with a bloody spine attached, snaking down the bed. The head was staring right at me, somehow still alive. It had this huge smile plastered on its face. Horrified, I screamed, "What happened to you?" The head smiled even bigger. "It feels great," the head groaned. End quote. Then he woke up. He detailed other nightmarish dreams, including shadow figures staring at him from outside his windows. Quote, "Even though I live on the second floor." End quote. Trying to shake the dream from his thoughts, Adam went out to a local store to pick up a snack and drink, passing the warehouse along the way. As he walked by the still-shuttered warehouse on the way back to his apartment, he, quote, "heard a dull thunk from the other side of the shutters." End quote. Fear was replaced with curiosity, and he walked over to a small window about a foot above his head. Unable to peek over, he raised his phone over the ledge and took a picture. Then he ran home, too scared to take a look. Eventually he did, and the picture showed a torn-up desk chair with what may be insulation sitting on top. And on the right side, next to an open doorway, there appeared to be a figure. Adam tweeted, quote, "Then I noticed something else in the upper right corner, something that looked like a face. The more I stared at it, the more it started to look like a nondescript blur. Now I can't even be sure what I'm seeing." End quote. 6 days later, on September 22, 2017, Adam tweeted, quote, "The past few days have been fairly quiet. I haven't been spending much time at home. I leave for Japan in a couple hours. I've been trying to avoid anything weird before my trip. I still feel like this all might stop if I just leave for a couple weeks." End quote. This was Adam's last tweet for nearly 2 weeks.
Hey guys, back at the playground again, huh?
Yep. You know what this playground could use? A wine country.
Heck yeah, and some waves, so we could go surfing.
Oh, yeah.
Love that.
A redwood forest would be cool.
I'm in.
Ski slopes.
Let's do it.
Can a girl go shopping?
Yeah, baby.
Wait! Did we just invent California?
Discover why California is the ultimate playground at visitcalifornia.com.
Hey guys, have you heard of Goldbelly? It's this amazing site where they ship the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants across the country, anywhere, nationwide. I've never found a more perfect gift than food. They ship Chicago deep dish pizza, New York bagels, Maine lobster rolls, and even Ina Garten's famous cakes. So if you're looking for a gift for the food lover in your life, head to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT.
Imagine a world-class graduate education that's accessible, flexible, and designed for career impact. That's Harvard Extension School. Build actionable knowledge and skills in challenging online classes taught by Harvard faculty and industry experts. Explore new opportunities and expand your network with high-achieving professionals from around the world. Part-time learning, real-world impact. This is Harvard on your terms. Learn more at extension.harvard.edu/Spotify.
BTW, FYI. Visit Nexplanon.com/RN to learn about Nexplanon. It's an adjustable implant, 68 milligrams radiopaque. Or ask your HCP IRL. Okay, TTYL.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
On October 3, 2017, Adam tweeted from Japan, his trip nearing its end. While walking around Sapporo, he came across a statue in a park and snapped pictures from different angles. He tweeted, quote, "I moved around to one side. and almost dropped my phone at what I saw." End quote. The picture showed a woman holding 2 children, one in each arm. The child on the right side had a dented head. On October 5th, 2017, Adam tweeted that he'd returned home safely and his cat seemed to be glad he was back. 9 days later, on October 14th, 2017, he tweeted about strange electrical problems in his apartment, 2 burned out bulbs in the hallway, and the LED backlight on his TV, which had been, quote, flickering on and off by itself, end quote. Too freaked out to go back to bed, he went out to eat at a local diner, getting back to his apartment as the sun was starting to come up. He decided to get ready for work and head to the office early. He tweeted, quote, "I showered and brushed my teeth, then headed into the bedroom to get dressed. As I passed the front door, I thought I heard a faint scratching sound from the other side. It was so soft, I wasn't sure it had really happened. I went over to the door, but I was too scared to look through the peephole." End quote. Too scared to look through the peephole himself, he snapped a few pictures instead. At first, they appeared blurry, but, quote, "as I analyzed it and started noticing things, part of a face, an ear, and an eye staring back at me," end quote. His post includes a video with a hand-drawn overlay of the image in the peephole, and it does resemble a partial face. On October 26, 2017, Adam tweeted that he had a friend visit his apartment, quote, "to do some cleansing stuff," end quote. He claimed it worked. His cats were no longer standing at the door. His nightmares stopped. Except one day, while walking past the empty warehouse, he noticed something unusual. Quote, "a hearse parked near the back wall," end quote. Sure enough, he posted a picture of a black hearse with a red curtain in the back window. He commented that while it was unsettling, he quickly put it out of his mind. A few days later, as he was walking through his dining room to the kitchen, he noticed his cat sitting by the window, staring up at it. He tweeted, quote, "the window looks out onto the roof of the business next door. I glanced out the window, but didn't see anything. As I went into the kitchen to get the bottle opener, I noticed something. There's a window in the kitchen, which looks out onto the same roof. And someone was standing on the roof staring at me." End quote. Adam immediately turned off the light switch and tried looking over the windowsill, but he was unable to see anything. He managed to snap 2 pictures and tweeted, quote, "my phone was in my pocket, so I grabbed it and took a photo. It was blurry and dark, but I swear someone was out there." End quote. The first photo was dark, though there appeared to be a small figure just left of center. In the second picture, the figure is gone. On November 6, 2017, Adam tweeted, quote, "last night I dreamed about him again. It was almost exactly the same as the first time I saw him." End quote. He dreamt of seeing Dear David in a recliner, staring straight at him. And, like the first encounter, he was experiencing sleep paralysis, except instead of being immobile, he could, quote, "squirm just a little bit. I felt more alert. I could move my hands somewhat." End quote. Adam was convinced David would move towards him, and sensing the end might be near, he grabbed hold of his phone to take a few photos. He tweeted, quote, "sure enough, he crawled down off the chair and began shuffling toward me. He moved slowly, like it was a struggle for him. I felt terrified, but I kept taking photos. David limped closer toward me, never taking his eyes off me. Soon I was face to face with him. He started muttering something, too quiet for me to understand. I watched as his eyes rolled back in his head until they were all white. I tried to writhe away from him, but I could barely move. I stared in horror as he began crawling up onto my bed, still murmuring something. End quote. Then, Adam woke up. The room was empty, and there was no trace of the ghost boy anywhere. Within a short time, he looked at the photos he'd taken that night. At first, they appeared like so many others before, pitch black. But as he adjusted the filters and settings, something horrifying soon took shape. A small child, with a dented head, sitting on a chair. On November 17, 2017, Adam posted a series of tweets showing the layout of his apartment, its proximity to the building across the street, and a new feature, a hatch in the ceiling of the staircase, where he'd heard strange noises. It seems like he was trying to rationalize everything that had happened. On November 28, 2017, he tweeted about a strange experience where he heard crashing sounds coming from above him. He slipped out of his apartment to pick up a bagel, when, quote, "As I made my way down the stairs, something crunched under my feet. I looked down and noticed a pile of debris on the stairs, directly under the hatch. It looked like dirt, but I couldn't tell for certain." End quote. Using a pole, he attempted to open the hatch while filming, quote, "just to make sure it would be caught on video if a demon burst out of the hatch." End quote. As Adam pushes the pole into the hatch, the video shows something fall out of it. And when he went to pick it up, you won't believe what he found. A small, black, leather shoe. He called his landlord and asked him to investigate, during which the landlord found a small misshapen marble. Quote, "Its shape was also sort of weird, with a little bump on one end." End quote. On December 12, 2017, Adam tweeted, quote, "I woke up with a start and felt something strange, like something had just been watching me. I turned on the light, but I was alone." End quote. Feeling a sense of dread, he, quote, "downloaded an app that takes a photo every 60 seconds and set my phone on top of a bookcase. Then I went to sleep. Just like before, I jolted awake hours later, feeling the same unease. I turned on the light and hurried out of bed to get my phone from the bookcase. There were probably 350 photos to scroll through. The vast majority of them are me sleeping in an empty room. It's sort of dark, but you can see me sleeping. I'd left a couple nightlights on just in case anything showed up. But for the first 100 or so photos, it was just me in an empty room." End quote. Then, he saw it. Quote, "Suddenly he was there, standing on the chair at the foot of the bed staring at me. In the next photo, from a minute later, he seems to be staring straight up at the ceiling. Just staring. Then he appears to collapse on the chair. The next dozen photos are all the same. He's completely lifeless. At first I thought he was dead, which obviously doesn't make any sense. I looked over at the chair half expecting him to still be there, but it was empty. But then, in the next photo, he's gone. The room, it was totally empty again. He's gone in the next several photos, too. I figured maybe that was it, but I kept swiping through the photos. About 15 photos later, he was back, standing next to the bed. It was just like the last time I saw him. That's when my heart started to race. I didn't want to look at the rest of the photos, but I knew I had to. I swiped to the next photo, and my heart sank into my stomach. He was on the bed, inches from me, staring down at me sleeping. The next one was worse. In the next photo, he's staring right at the camera. After that, there's seemingly nothing. He disappears again, and the rest of the scroll is just me alone in my room again. That is, until the last photo. End quote. The last photo shows what appears to be a partial view of a child's head and hair in the bottom left corner. For the next few weeks, Adam tweeted various pictures and comments, and on January 2nd, 2018, he stated, quote, "I still feel him at night, watching me from different corners of my room, always getting closer, and waking up right before something happens. Then he was hovering above my bed, staring down at me, his mouth moving faster than it should be. I couldn't move. I could only look up at him. Last night was particularly bad. I felt sick and had nightmares all night. I dreamed that David was hovering in the corner by the ceiling, far off the ground. He was mouthing something, but I couldn't hear any words. Suddenly, he plummeted downward, and I felt this huge pressure crash into my chest. I woke up gasping, the wind completely knocked out of me. I sat up and looked around frantically, heaving for air, but there was nothing. When I caught my breath, I retrieved my phone from the dresser. The photo roll showed nothing of note, save for the last photo, taken just a moment before. The last photo shows what appeared to be a child laying sideways on a blanket. On February 3rd, 2018, Adam tweeted, quote, "Everything is fine," end quote. And on February 14th, 2018, he tweeted, quote, "Please don't worry about me. I'm okay, and everything will be like it was before. Smiley face emoticon," end quote. And on March 12, 2018, he tweeted, quote, "For everyone asking if I'm alive, I'm doing okay. It's been pretty quiet around here lately, and I've been trying to focus on work. Of course, I'll keep you updated if anything strange happens. But for now, I'm staying busy with drawing and other projects." End quote. That was the last tweet Adam Ellis sent regarding Dear David. From what we know, the Dear David haunting stopped almost as abruptly as it began. I'll admit, this story fascinates and frightens me. Writing this episode sent chills down my back, and reviewing the pictures, videos, and recordings didn't help. As you can imagine, Adam Ellis' story has created both skeptics and believers, with the former claiming it was an elaborate, creative, and novel form of storytelling. They say the pictures and videos don't prove the existence of Dear David, and many believe they were doctored or edited to show proof of the haunting. For believers, though, what Adam Ellis captured inside his apartment may be the most definitive proof of the supernatural ever recorded. For his part, Adam Ellis claims that what he experienced was, in fact, the truth. For me, I err on the side of caution. I think it's possible he was experiencing something strange, scary, and maybe supernatural. But I also think some of his evidence may have been created for the sake of the story. But, no matter whether it's fact or fiction, the story is definitely scary. As we close this episode of the Red Treehouse, we're left with these lingering questions. Was a murderous ghost haunting Adam Ellis back in 2017? Or was it nothing more than a creative story? I've shared the story. Now you decide for yourself. I'm your host, Will. Thanks for joining me in the Red Treehouse.
you